Welcome, dear audience, to episode 6 of The Cringe That Keeps on Diarrheaing. Oh lordy, it was an episode of literally nothing happening and nonsense dialogue squeezed out by Leslie Headland's butt cheeks. But before going any further, I have an announcement to make. The tides of democracy has changed in the once great land of the United Kingdom, where once we had freedom of speech unless you misgendered someone on the internet, a recent election occurred and we now have a Labour government that barely anyone wanted. And their pledge is to go even further than the Conservatives and make misogyny a hate crime. But to my advantage, they will also be making it easier to transmission my gender. Therefore, to not get sent down 25 days to life in Belmarsh prison, Let's Review Crap Writing, will from here on out declare that I am a female athlete in permanent pre-transition status. Alright then, announcement over, so let's get into audience. Let's find out what the $180 million of sick got us this time. Show beginning, here we are with the female of power in the Batcave of an unknown planet that they told us was totally unknown in case you didn't figure out for yourself. Because remember audience, in the last episode, she was almost deaded to death from falling over slightly. Then Master Man came over and revived her because the Force can do that for some kind of reason under Disney Star Wars. And during the credit sequence, managed to transport her unconscious body to this exact location without her waking up at all. What a bunch of crap! Anyway, she wakes up and gets out of bed seeing a weird little retarded elephant scurrying around. And upon investigation, finds Shanique's duffel bag complete with all her clothes and knives. So she gets dressed and heads outside, and it's a really nice day out, and I'm pretty sure that's the same item they use in a Raid trilogy. Oh, and there's the Master. Well, that was great, we know where they are. On an unknown planet. So let's go for a scene transmission to Squidman, who is only now taking off in his ship, because if the Master had time to transport the female of power to the Batcave, then it takes the exact same amount of time to press the start button on the spaceship. So he gets called in Space Command, saying, bro, we have encountered a really big Otto SpaghettiOs down here, and lots of fan favourites died in the last episode. One of them even got his neck broken. But to all of our surprise, getting stabbed by lightsabers is somehow now lethal again after years of being the equivalent of getting hit by a can of silly string. But while he's whinging about all those deaths no one cared about, Shanique gets rolling up behind, and she's got a knife. But just as she's about to do an intergalactic FBI crime statistic, Squidman can feel her presence saying, "Hey Bonqueef, I've got to take an absolute steamer and reset the communication Wi-Fi box because for some reason it's playing up. Can you drive the spaceship for me, please?" Yeah, sure, she says. It's not going to be an issue at all, and I definitely know how to drive this exact type of ship just so the plot can happen. So Squiddy heads off to the John, but while he's gone, the non-conformist pansexual they-them gopher is sussing out that Shanique ain't Bonqueef. And he also has the little robot droid head thing that Bonqueef used to attract all those evil bugs in the last episode that he managed to pick up conveniently as the big naughty Master Man was walking away. Alright then, that went absolutely nowhere, so let's head back to the Master, who's heading for a nice bath after all of this shit. But little does he realise, Bonqueef is perving like the dirty bitch she is. But from the corner of her eye, she sees the Master's lightsaber unattended. And just like her career criminal sister, immediately goes for a tea-leaving exercise because apples don't fall far from the tree now, do they? And as she stands there admiring how much cash converters will exchange it for, the Master has already sensed her presence saying, "Sup? How does it feel to hold one again? Bet you think you're being really smartly right now and really big and brave, but you utterly suck and the Order of Jedi's taught you wrong. Your arm should be higher." Oh, and also I know that you're Bonqueef, unlike Squidman, who's so incredibly dumb, he hasn't even noticed the giant tattoo on Shanique's fucking forehead yet. So the Master gets rolling over saying, "I'm just gonna get out of this water right now and totally get dressed. But you better stand back because that ain't the only lightsaber I'm packing, dearie." Well, alright, technically this one is sheathed right now because it's cold out. But if you give me a few hours next to a heater, then you will be in incredible danger. Well, okay. Why is it pixelated? Oh, that? Yeah, it's kind of the lore where I'm from. That totally makes sense. Say, can you answer something for me? Did you kill Squidman in the last episode? No? Okay then, did you kill my bitch sister Shanique then? Also no. But very interesting that you'll ask about Squidman first instead of your own sister. And that definitely means something, but don't worry, we'll never mention it again. So Bonqueef and the Master take a lovely walk on a beach getting to know each other, where it turns out the Master Man totally used to be a Jedi. And that's really shocking to absolutely no one who watched episode 5. So Bonqueef gets telling him, "Hey, I know you're keeping me here so the Squid Man can come get me and fight you again, but be warned, he is absolutely incredible in the Force." "Not so fast," replies Master Man. "That isn't his strength. It's yours. You are sensing your own stunning and brave and believing that it's somebody else's. There's a reason why you're such a hilarious comedian. Because although we're in episode 6 and we have displayed 0% of your Force abilities, we're just going to take a big steaming dump in the audience faces and hope that they believe us." Alright then, what another completely wasted scene. So let's go for some space docking that Shanique manages to pull off with absolutely no whoops and daisies. Even though I'm going to assume right here, right now, that this is the first time she's ever driven that type of ship. Because remember, audience, in space, everything is standardized, so the plot can happen. Like that time that bitch Ray flew the Millennium Falcon by bypassing the compressor. 10 out of 10, maximum stunning and brave. Oh, and here comes Squidman saying, "Sup, fake Bonqueef, I'm going to completely ignore that giant witch tattoo you've got on your forehead, because I am coming in for a Harvey Weinstein." Where he gets crying about how Bonqueef saved him from committing a murder in the last episode and breaking his vows. Even though it is entirely justified. It's like chopping Darth Maul in half and spending the rest of your life in prison crying about it. The guy was a menace. A phantom menace, if you will. So why is everyone in this show a giant fucking pussy? Scene transmission to Shrek, who's having a chat with a Bluetooth Wi-Fi cool man. But as she's telling him to get out of her swamp, an LGTV Jedi man walks in saying, "Hi Shrek, we got a call from Squidman earlier. It turns out a lot of people got murdered in the last episode. And he's really sad right now." My god, that's terrible! We need to send a rescue squad over to him right now. And that could not have come at a better time, as Shanique is currently sneaking around the Squidman's ship, where she's just found Bonqueef's Doctor Who Go-Go Gadget robot. And that's really interesting, because as she stares at it, the pansexual nonconformist They Them Gopher gets rocking in because he knows that that bitch ain't the real Bonqueef, so straight up gets Harvey Weinsteining her leg, and then runs off while the droid, that can do anything the plot demands it to, orders a grease nipple to ejaculate Robo Space Goo right into her face because that also knows that that isn't the real Bonqueef. Very funny scene. I laugh big time. So as she wipes off the salty Weinstein goo and then mysteriously gets apart in Disney Star Wars, she factory resets the droid so it can no longer recognize that she's actually Shanique. But while that's going on, let's check in with the real Bonqueefer, who's asking the Master, "Oi, you said I have incredible strength in the Force. What did you mean by that?" "I meant every word. You little Jedi mates tell you this Force shite is about being good and not an emotional wreck like that time Mark Hamill had a meltdown because a literal orange was democratically elected as president back in 2016. But they're wrong. Dead wrong with AIDS. As there's another way of being really cool. It's called using your anger and desire, Bonqueef, and it's all about the emotions." "Ugh, I've heard of that. That's the dark side. It's totally evil. And you killed all those Jedi guys back in episode 5. "Well, yeah, they were trying to kill me as well, you fucking dingus. They hate me for who I am because of bigotry. And in this version of Disney Star Wars, there is no good or evil. Just Leslie Headland's diarrhea. And everything's pointing towards me having a tortured past. You may have an emotionally captivating backstory there, Masterman, but I'm not easily corrupted unlike my career criminal sister. I am going outside." So she heads out, but just as she's standing there, the Master walks up saying, "Sup bitch, you haven't left this planet yet," which obviously means you want something from me. Well, I know what that is. Here, kill me to death with my own lightsaber. "I can't, Reese Bonqueef. A Jedi doesn't kill the unarmed. Even though I am literally not a Jedi." "Yeah, you're not a Jedi because they didn't want you to be one, did they?" "No, you're wrong, Masterman. It's because I have a tortured past. My sister tried killing me to death in episode 3, and then my mum straight up died. And my father never returned from going to the shops to buy some cigarettes." Exactly. The Jedi don't want you because they can't handle the fact that you have emotions. no, it's because I failed. It's my fault, not theirs. And so she starts having a re-raging meltdown until the master finally tells her, I too have lost. I've had a tortured past. Literally, no one cares. So let's head off to the planet Croissant where Shrek is rolling up to the LGTV Jedi man asking whether he's heard back from Squidman yet. But it turns out that he hasn't heard anything and they're leaving in 20 minutes time. So he invites Shrek to come along. Ugh, that means I have to leave this swamp. But I'll do it, donkey. Let's go save Fiona. Oh, that's really, really great. But are you sure you do get travel sick when we do this whole like hyperdrive space travel stuff? I don't get sick. I just get an unhappy rumbly in my tummy. So they get ready to roll after wasting yet more dialogue. But while that's happening, Shanique goes to see Squidman on the ship saying, hey, I bypassed the compressor. And then I did a ship reboot, so we're good to go in no time. That's fantastic! I'm really glad that you know how to do all of this engineering and system analysis stuff on a ship that you've never been on before. And nothing in your character tree is in any way displayed how you know all this stuff. But shut up, bitch, I'm having a moment. How did I not see that the Apocrypha back in episode 2 was actually the master? I should have known that he was the real evil. I have failed. Don't worry about it, Squiddy. It's just because your judgment was clouded. You're an incredible guy. You'll get over it. I will. I just have to believe in myself. That was a really sweet moment between the two of them. But suddenly Shanique hits him with a wet fish asking if he's ever told her everything that happened on her home planet in episode 3. Because no one in the audience has worked out yet that the Jedi killed all the cat ladies. But just as he's about to ejaculate the worst kept secret in Hollywood, the power to the ship comes back on, so immediately heads to do a telecommunication in the cockpit. And just as she's about to hit the transmission button, she gets whacked by a stun gun because a non-conformist pansexual they them gopher finally dobbed her in, and Squidman gets confirming by finally seeing the giant witch tattoo on her fucking forehead that she's made minimal effort to hide by putting a bit of hair over it. For fuck's sake, the crayons are getting worse. So for some reason, Squidman turns off the Bluetooth Wi-Fi communicator and hyperdrives his bitch ass out of that place. Just moments before Shrek arrives. No, that means they don't know where he is. And hopefully everyone dies. So let's head back to Bunkweef and the Master, who are discussing what he actually wants. Because it turns out he doesn't just want revenge like Shanique did. Oh no. What he really wants is the power of 2. Which is retarded, because it was clearly stated in episode 3 that it's actually the power of many. It still haunts my nightmares. The cringe. It's too unbearable. So he gets lifting up his top while turned around, and he has some scars on his back. So Bunkweef asks him, hey, how did you get those scars? Wow, that was an utter genius sequence of setup and payoff. Lift up top, see some scars. How did you get those scars? I bet it took Leslie Headland 2 weeks to come up with that one. It's because of my Jedi Master throwing me away because I didn't see how stunning I was. And you see that helmet over there? It's magic, Bunkweef. It blocks out everything, so it's just you and the Force in there, and it can even stop lightsabers. Wow, that's really, really cool. Yeah, it is. You should try it on. But I don't trust you. Yeah, nor should you. You should learn to trust just yourself. For the love of fuck, can someone in the writing staff please have a normal conversation just once in their dumbass lives? This was just a shit army of random lines glued together with Headland's diarrhea. You're not being deep, you're not being clever, you're just Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant. Alright then, that was full-blown AIDS, so let's head over to the Inspector Shrek and the LGTV detective, who are now on planet Kafar and have found the exact location where everyone died to death in the last episode. So they get inspecting hard. Yeah, says Shrek, there was definitely a fight here. How did you work that one out, boss? Because everyone's dead through lightsaber stabs, you absolute retard. And that must mean one of the Jedi has fallen. You're making a lot of sense right now. And the guy who did this must have had a really, really tortured past. Yeah, and even though it was Squidman who called us to tell us that shit had gone down here, I'm gonna suspect that it was him all along. But as she's saying that, one of the bugs from the last episode appears out of literally nowhere, and Shrek senses it, so finally we get to see her use her lightsaber whip. Ooh, that's so cool, literally shitting myself with excitement. Even though that's the most impractical shit I've ever seen. I mean, what happens when it hits the floor? It will melt massive holes everywhere. It would be impossible to train with. So while they're thinking they're in True Detective but for retards, Shanika's waking up after getting Harvey Weinstein gooed by a stun gun. And oh lordy, she's actually tied down. I have no intention of hurting you, Shanique. We just need to find your master and save Bon Queef. But first, you and I are going to talk. It has been 16 years and every day it has tortured my past. But right here, right now, I'm going to tell you what really happened in episode 3. Yes, I will tell the big twist that everyone in the audience already knows that happened because Leslie Headland has the subtlety of a brick in the face. But we're not gonna learn it this episode, as we've got to go see Bon Queef put the Master's COVID mask on for the final scene. Ooh, big scary, stunning and brave. No one actually cares, but I did almost cringe to death, so there is also that. And that's pretty much it for episode 6. Wow, what a fantastic series this actually is. Can't wait for episode 7, where absolutely nothing happens either. God bless Disney Star Wars. But as I am now a woman in the United Kingdom, please put your pronouns in the comments section so I can address you correctly and not get arrested by Big Daddy Starmer. Thank you very much, Lee. Big shout out to all my Patreon boys and guys. You are the reason my mummy calls me a special little boy. Love you all very much, Lee.
Subscribe button.
Is always right.